You can play chords on the 6-string bass, but should you? Oh, it sounds pretty beautiful to me. I think we should at least know how to build those chords and then talk about the why and the when. In this series, we're going to explore how chords can unlock new textures, grooves, and voicings on your bass. And we'll talk about the when and why to play them. We're going to be aiming this mostly at the 6-string bass, but some of this can be played on 4- and 5-string basses, so stay tuned. We're starting with the basics today, major and minor triads, grounded by a nice low root note. We'll explore inversions, 7th chords, and more in future videos, but today is all about foundation. If you want to sound intentional when you play, you've got to understand what harmony's actually made of. And it all starts with the triad. So let's break down what triads actually are, both major and minor triads, and how they function in the music that we hear every day. If you already understand how to build triads, you can skip to the next chapter. But if not, let's do a quick overview. Triads come from scales. When we stack up specific notes from a scale, we translate the sound of the scale into a chord. A triad is a 3-note chord, so we're just going to take 3 of those notes from the scale. The first note that we call the root, the 3rd note, and the 5th note. Let's play a major scale and figure out those 3 notes. So here's our scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're back to 1. I'm going to take the first note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note, and that makes up the major triad. Now, you're going to have an advantage here if you actually know the names of those notes. I'm playing this scale in the key of C. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. All right? The first or root is a C, the 3rd is an E, and the 5th is a G. Now let's play a minor scale and figure out those same 3 notes. I'm going to play that scale. It's got 7 notes again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to the 1. Okay, I'm going to take the first note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note. Again, you are at a big advantage if you know the names of those notes. That's C, the 3rd is E flat, and the 5th is G. Now I want you to notice that 2 of those notes are the same as the major triad. The root and the 5th are the same between the major and the minor triad. The only note that changes is the 3rd. In C major, it's C, E, G. In C minor, it's C, E flat, G. This is going to be the same no matter what combination of major and minor triads you play. Now let's move on from theory to sound. This is where the fretboard starts to open up because the 6-string bass gives us room to build chords that feel huge and balanced. We can play these triads in a closed root position style, something like this. That's cool, but we've got an extended range on the 6-string bass. So I like to play what I think of as an open voicing, which I get by keeping my root down in the low octave and then moving the 3rd and the 5th up an octave. Let's start by moving only one of those notes up an octave, the 3rd. This is a little bit of a tight voicing, but it's still got a lot of depth and beauty in it. This one could be played on 4, 5, or 6-string basses, although I like the sound of the higher strings on the 6-string bass. Look at that, that's beautiful, right? And as you noticed, as I just showed, because of the symmetrical nature of the tuning on the bass, we can move this chord anywhere and play it in any key. Notice my fingering on this. I'm playing the root with the first finger, the fifth with the third finger, and the third with the second finger. It's really important. We want to build a consistent fingering system for chords, just like we do with single note lines. We can get another root position open voicing by pushing the fifth up an octave as well. This one spreads the sound out a little bit and gives us more of an even balance of low notes and high notes. Check that out. We've got that low root, we've got that same third up an octave, and now we've taken the fifth up an octave, so we get that. Now this voicing goes across 5 strings, so you're not going to be able to play this on 4th string. This is only a 5 or a 6 string bass voicing. Again, it's a movable voicing, so wherever you put that root, that's the major chord you're playing. Pretty cool, right? My fingering's a little bit different on this one. Now, I could play with my second finger on the root, my third finger on the third, and my first finger on the fifth. That works, but I prefer to use my second finger on the root, my fourth finger on the third, and then my first finger on the fifth. This is just, it's a little easier to play for me. I've got smaller hands, and it also facilitates movement between different voicings. If major triads are bright and confident, minor triads are the sound of tension, emotion, and color. Oh, and on a 6-string bass, they can sound massive. Oh yeah. We can play this in a closed root position style, but I'm going to lean into those open voicings structured by moving the third and fifth up an octave. It's important to remember that the difference between a major and minor triad is only one root, so the voicing is going to be similar with one important difference. We're going to start with the same strategy, just moving one note up the octave, the third. Now this one, again, could be played on 4, 5, or 6-string basses. Just like all the other voicings, it's also movable around the neck. All right, I'm gonna play the root down below, the fifth right above, and then the third up top. I'm using my first finger to play that root, my fourth finger to play the fifth, and then my second finger to play the third. You could use the third finger on the fifth right there. That would provide some consistency from the major voicing, but I find it's a little bit tight, and I like to use that fourth finger. Now, just like the major triads, let's move that fifth up an octave and spread the sound one out. This one, again, is only playable on a 5 or 6-string bass. I'm gonna put the root down below using my second finger, the third next using my third finger, and then the fifth up top using my first finger. This one really sits nicely under the fingers. There's not a lot of stretching, but the fingers are tight together, so you need to get comfortable with it. And of course, just like all the other voicings, it's movable anywhere on the neck. Pretty cool. Theory is one thing, but chords don't live on paper. Let's drop these shapes into a groove and see how they actually fit under your fingers. But before we do that, let's stop and think. Why would we even use these? Most bass lines are one single note, and that provides that foundation that most bands need. But think about it. You might be playing in a situation where there is no chordal instrument. The keyboard player couldn't make the gig. The guitar player's running late. You might be the one who wants to fill out the sound. You might want to serve as a secondary chordal instrument and hold down the groove alongside the keyboard player. Or check this out. What if you're a trio bass guitar and drums, and the guitar player starts taking a solo, you could put some chords underneath there to really make things happen. And of course, you might also be thinking about a solo bass context. You never know. But whether you're filling space when there's no chordal instrument or you're layering harmony under the groove, these examples can show you how chords can serve the music without losing the pocket. Let's look at a couple of grooves that puts these chords to use. The first one holds down steady eighth notes while adding chordal punches. This next one fills out the sound a little bit more with some simple individual note finger picking, arpeggiating the chords. This last one moves the groove around the neck a little bit and emphasizes minor chords. So should you play chords on the bass? Absolutely. But now you know how they work and you can think about some musical situations where you might be able to put them to use at the right time. Try these out. I'd love to see what else you come up with. Create a great bass part using chords. Post it and tag me. It's a world of possibilities. So I'd love to know what you think. Do you think chords are useful on the bass? Have you experimented with them before? Or maybe you have some favorite tracks where the bass player's playing some chords. Let me know down in the comments. This is just the first in a series too, so subscribe, turn on notifications so you can be updated about all the upcoming videos. Can't wait for the next one, folks. See you soon.